welcome everyone to another Game Time Today's Sit Down. This one's a little unconventional than what you're used to in the past, but we will get through it and everybody will enjoy it very much, I'm pretty sure. We're joined by Emma and Tessa Stewart. For those that don't know, they're both hockey players. You may have seen them AP for the Tessa AP for the Western Predators. Emma is a full-time player for the Western Predators. Tessa plays full-time for the Interlake Lightning U18 program, so we'll get into that. The reason I wanted to have you both on is it's unconventional to have sisters playing with each other in the MWGHR and play U18 at the same time. I know the Predators have a history of it with Paige and Brooke Collins, but this is about as close as it's going to get for the time being. It's a pretty unique situation, which I found pretty cool. We're going to do the other sister duo at some point once I'm able to catch up with them. But this is the first one that I wanted to do. Thank you guys for joining me. And how's your summer been so far?
Pretty busy, I would say.
Yeah.
Both been working, and I've been playing a little bit extra hockey on the side too.
I've been playing some soccer, so lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, keeping busy for sure. It sounds like the weather's gonna warm up a lot more than it has in the next few weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully the rain stops, so that I've seen just about enough of that.
Yeah.
Almost like we've had 2 years worth of rain in like 6 months, but that's besides the point. Emma, so tell me, we'll rotate these questions kind of through. Emma, how did you start in hockey? Was it always hockey for you? I know you're listed as a defenseman right now. When I checked the official game roster, was it always hockey for you? How did you get into the game? And what was kind of that I want to play hockey moment for you?
So I actually started in ringette when I was like 5, and my parents actually coached us throughout. And then around grade 5, everyone kind of was jumping ship to hockey, and I was like, okay, I want to play too. So I started playing for like the local Warren Junior Mercs team with some girls around here. And then I was always kind of a defense with hockey and ringette. And then there was one season I was like, oh, like I'm just going to play forward. So I started playing forward for a while, and I actually really liked it, and I was scoring some goals. But then I always go back and forth. And then grade 9, I jumped into AAA, and I played as a forward. And then I kind of always went back and forth every year. I played defense in AAA a bit, played AA forward a bit, kind of all over the place. And still, to this day, I like playing both, but I prefer defense.
So just a quick follow-up for you. We've heard that story about a lot of people starting in ringette before they get into hockey. Obviously, ringette forces more on the skating side of the game. There's different rules when it comes to it.
Mm-hmm.
How, Emma, did that prepare you for hockey? Because they are the sports are kind of the same, but kind of different in their own way. I'm just wondering how maybe that prepared you for hockey.
I guess, yeah, a bit of the skating for sure. And then like the team aspect of it definitely was a bit tricky to try and stick handle and shoot. But then there are like some similarities between like a ringette wrist shot and a hockey wrist shot that's kind of able to carry over a bit. But definitely was a struggle for a bit. But I was just kind of like, I'm going to be aggressive, skate everywhere, get the puck, just kind of go with it, and started to figure it out as we went.
So Tessa, obviously you're with the Interlake U18 team right now, which finished their season quite impressively compared to where you guys started. I think you guys really made strides throughout the year. How did you kind of get started in hockey? Was it the same kind of thing for you, or did you decide to take a different path?
It's actually very similar. I played ringette up to grade 5, and then I switched to hockey. But I played Stonewall for 2 years, and then from Bantam to U18, I played Lightning the whole 5 years.
Okay, so they're kind of the same, kind of different. It's interesting how people how people get to that where they get to. Obviously, Emma, what did you know about the MWGHR coming into it? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of rookie nerves. I mean, you came in, I think you told me the year of COVID, the year before COVID, kind of the final, but I think that was the year the final was shut down early. What did you know about the league coming in, and kind of what were your expectations? If you could take me back to say September of that year, uh, from what you remember.
So I actually used to work with Brooke and McKenna Riley, and
Okay.
they were kind of the people that were like, "Oh, like this is like what we do," and because I didn't want to give up playing hockey, and they kind of explained it to me. And I was actually kind of hoping to be on on the Silver Tips team. Just throw that out there. And I was kind of like wanting to play with them. I didn't know a lot. All I know is that I was competitive and I could still play after high school and do university at the same time. Um, Other than that, I really honestly didn't know much about it, but I was just kind of excited to try something new and continue playing.
So tell me about your tryouts and waiting for, that phone call, which I'm assuming came from Ashton or somebody with that team. What was it like to finally get that phone call? Because I can't imagine, and I've heard, you know, lots of iterations of tryouts are done. Now there's a few days between tryouts and when the teams are formed. What were those few days like, and what was it like to get that phone call?
Those few days were definitely full of anxiety. I was sitting there waiting. I remember sitting actually studying when Nat, do you remember Nat Escobil? She called me actually and was like, "Oh, I assistant coach," and I was like a little bit confused at first, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and then yeah, it was pretty cool.
So pretty relieved, obviously, to make the team. Tessa, tell me about your backstory. I mean, obviously, you played for Interlake. What was it like? I mean, trying out for that team and realizing that you made the team, and then tell me a bit about your season last year.
For sure. So trying out for Interlake, it's just like it's our local area. So it'd be like I've always dreamed of playing for like the local team, and it was really cool finding out that I made it because it's a dream. Like my brothers always played Interlake, Emma's played a bit of Interlake, so it's just like it was very exciting to feel that I could do something that they've done. And then so this past season, I struggled for me a lot. I had a major injury, so I didn't play a whole lot of the season. But when I did, it was very fun, and I could see how our team improved throughout the season, which was exciting to see. And that's what you always want to have as a team that's growing.
Obviously, it was well documented. It was actually brought to my attention early in the playoffs, but you had missed most of the year with an injury, and then you were just working your way back, and you were able to get back on the ice, and you were able to play. Excuse me. Can you tell me what it was like? Because I know there's a lot of people that have suffered long-term injuries in the recovery, and just the mental grind that comes with that to get back to doing what you like to do. What was that experience like? Because I'm not sure if you'd had that kind of experience before, but what was that recovery like? And I mean, obviously, you want to be on the ice whenever you can. I don't know about you, but if I ever had a serious injury, I don't think I'd ever be at most of the games because I'd want to be, thrown right on the ice. But what was that experience like for you?
It was actually very hard. It was for me like I tore my knee, so I actually tried playing with my knee torn, and I was like it just kept flipping and it just kept hurting. But like it's so hard to sit in the stands and watch my team play, so I just kept trying and trying to play, and then there was just a point where it's just like just it hurt too much, so then I had to get my surgery done, and then it was hard to watch my team play, but at the same time, it's what's best for my health, so get healed up and then come back, and then when I finally got to start playing, it was just like amazing, like full of emotion and just like relief and just happiness.
Now, obviously, you have a unique perspective with your team, Tessa, because you were on the sideline. But I mean, I saw you guys at that preseason tournament in September. You guys were kind of getting used to each other still because it was a relatively new team, minus a couple of players that had been there for a while. Can you speak to maybe the progression? Because I saw game one. We did game one of that Avro series, and you guys took them to overtime there. Unfortunately, you guys lost. But are you able to speak to your team's progression throughout the year? Because when I saw you guys in November and January and February, and then in the playoffs, it seemed like we saw this improvement from as the year went on. What do you think went into that, and maybe what does that say about your team? Because I don't think I heard a negative word come out of your team all season. How were you guys able to stay so positive despite maybe the results not going your way?
I think it was because our team was pretty much a family. Like, everyone got along. There's no drama in the dressing room. Everyone was so close. We're all each other's best friends, and that led to success because we all wanted to be there together, and everybody bought into trying to win and having the much success we could have.
What was the reaction kind of in the room when you guys realized that you took the Avros to overtime? I mean, not a lot of people expected it. I mean, like I was doing the game broadcast and you could kind of see the Avros not wanting to be any part of overtime based on what the standings had said. But I hate to say into a one game, but did that kind of motivate you guys even more, especially you as a returning player, to say, hey, all this progress, we might not have won a game, but yeah, we took, the semifinalists to overtime in the first game. Is that maybe something you can build on going into this year?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think it's something like definitely a confidence booster for our team and gave us our team have like a new rep that we can do it. And like, it doesn't matter like our history, like we can compete and we can be there and still we can win and we can have success.
Finally, Emma, tell me about your Predator season. I mean, to be honest, I've been in the league, this will be my 12th year coming up. Spoiler alert. But I don't think I've ever seen a team have to deal with so much adversity. It seemed like every game somebody was coming down with something and have to leave the game. And you guys would have APs filling in admirably. Um, it's something we hadn't really seen from the Predators or any team, the amount of injuries and, missed man games. And yet, despite all of that, you guys find your way into second place on the last weekend of the season, kind of unsuspectingly when you talk to people, around the league. And I just remember making the call. I think it was to somebody on your coaching staff. And I told them, I said, hey, you guys got the first round bye. We'll see you for the second round. And like, really? It's almost like they didn't know it was coming. I don't know if they were trying to play it off or anything. But can you talk to me about the adversity that your team had to deal with and all the injuries and how that made you guys actually closer in that way?
Well, it was definitely tough because I feel like at one point, leading into playoffs, we had 5 girls out, I think, and they were all kind of like major injuries where they weren't going to be coming back. So it was kind of like, oh no, I don't know how we're even going to play in playoffs because we're losing players by the minute. But definitely made us closer because we were all like kind of playing for each other. Like Bailey, our captain, this was her last year, and obviously she couldn't play at all. So we're kind of like, hey, like everyone's playing for each other at this point because we understand how terrible it is to sit on the sidelines and watch everything happen. And then I think just everything happening and made us stronger together because we were like sticking up for each other on the ice basically, and we wanted to win because of that.
Yeah, when you lose your captain the way you guys did, that should easily, fold the tent for some team, but you guys were able to kind of keep that together. Tell me about your series in the first round there, Emma. I mean, you guys get the first round bye. You guys kind of get hot at the right time, and the thing I kept hearing about you guys was, just wait, if we can get hot at the right time, we're gonna be onto something. What was that like when you guys shorthanded, having all these APs helping you out, of course, but what was that like toward the end of the year, like the last month or so leading up to the playoffs?
Well, it was kind of unbelievable. I honestly didn't think we were going to beat it past the first round, but then again, I kind of just like rallied and did it. And then we I feel like throughout the season we played pretty well against the Owls in general, and we had a pretty good record against them. So we're all like, it is possible. Like, it's not like we're going in there with like zero chance of like going to the next round. So I think as the series went on, we just kind of kept amping up the energy a bit, and then we were like, this is actually possible. And then obviously, like, the more you see the next round ahead of you, it keeps up the energy.
Obviously, Tessa, you AP'd with them. I think you played in the maximum number of games prior to the playoffs, and then they let you played some games in the final too, as I recall. Do you remember getting that call that you were whether you were interested in APing, and what was that like for you?
I was beyond excited because like I didn't play much with like intro like that much because I was injured, and I was like to continue like not my season but like with someone else's season. It was so exciting that I could still play hockey on like competitive level, and then like hope like get to a championship. It was so fun, and everyone was so nice, and it was a great experience.
So tell me about your first game. I mean, obviously, it's an older age group. It is Emma's team. Um, was there a little bit of pressure, and what was that like?
I was very nervous. There was a lot of pressure, that's for sure.
I think I put a lot of pressure on you.
I was like, because I didn't know what to expect. Like, I've watched some games before, but I've never like been put into it, and it's just I didn't know what to expect. But I think it was pretty good. It was fun.
Was there a moment, Tessa, where and forgive me because I don't have any other way to phrase this, but was there a moment where the light went on and you realized you could play in this league? Because, people made a big deal, and I think rightfully so, about the adjustment from AA to AAA to AAA to the MW, whatever league they came from. It is a fairly sizable adjustment. Was there a moment where it's like where you said to yourself, "Yeah, you know what? I can play here. I can, start to kind of play my game at this level." Was there a moment where that kind of locked in for you?
Yeah, I think it was after the first game. I was like talking to my parents and Emma, and I was just like holy, I can like this is something I want to do, and this is fun, and like I can compete here and like keep up with them. So it was like after the first game, just talking about reviewing it, and it was just I don't know, it gave me excitement for the next ones.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because you missed so much time during the season, so you were probably maybe half or three quarters of a season played, maybe half at that point. It wasn't like you had 40 or 50 games leading up to that. So it was an extra little cushion of games for you. Emma, tell me about that playoff series with the Prairie Blaze in the final. Like, I have no idea what you guys are thinking going into that series. You win game 1, game 3, you lose games 2, 4, and 5. What were your expectations going into that series? Because, people saw the injuries and the manpower that you guys were missing. And people saw that train that the Prairie Blaze were, all season just literally rolling down the tracks and winning game after game after game. I'm just wondering what you were thinking as a team going into that series, because I know there was a lot of people that were not giving you guys, much of a chance, and maybe rightfully so. I'm just wondering what the mindset was in that dressing room. And I know, Tessa, I think you played a couple games in the final there too, so you can. This question kind of for both of you, but what was the mindset going into that series? Because I mean, obviously it's 1-2, but it's a decided, heavy favorite if the standings are, to be believed come playoff time.
So I think I can't remember if it was the Owls that had previously beat the Blaze, or there was like somehow there's some team that had previously beat them recently, and we're like, okay, well we've beat that team, so anything is possible. You just have to have a good game, and everyone has to show up and be there for each other. But definitely we're a little bit nervous. But then there was some online heat and just some drama that went on, and it kind of fueled us, I guess, to kind of show up and compete and like actually like want to win, because obviously everyone didn't think we were going to win. So we were like, hey, let's try to prove them wrong and at least win 1 or 2 games, because that enough will shut them up because everyone thought we were gonna get swept. So definitely brought the energy because we didn't want to be swept. So I think, and then obviously throughout that series, it got a little bit messy and there was more drama that went on and stuff, but
Oh yeah.
kind of some scared some of us off, but then some of us made us want to fight harder. So it was kind of like a mixed emotional series.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Tessa, what do you remember from that series, whether it was in the stands or on the ice?
I just remember the first game that we won, and it was like, holy, like we can do this. Like it was just like a whole belief, and it's like, what if we end up sweeping them? Like it was just like exciting, and I don't know. I think it was very fun.
So you guys remember, I think it was game 1 of that series, the back and forth shenanigans that happened in the last, I think it was the last minute 45. There were 3 lead changes, and the game goes to overtime, and I think, oh, this is going to be the game-winning goal because there's just no way anybody else can come back with that amount of time left. What was that like on the bench, because I mean, like I had trouble keeping up because there were goals coming left, right, and center. So trying to recap the goals, then another goal gets scored, and then you go to overtime, which is absolutely a crazy overtime period to begin with. What was that like on the bench? Like, how were you guys able to stay so calm? And I guess the B part, were you guys calm given everything that was going on?
It was definitely insane, stressful, but exciting. And I think we're on borderline giving our coaches heart attacks because they were like, "Oh my god, you guys need to stop this." But again, we just like kept fighting, so we wanted to win, so it worked out. But definitely a bit nerve-wracking for sure.
Tessa, what do you remember about that game? Because I mean, obviously it was back and forth and back and forth and crazy. Um, I don't know about you guys, but that to me was probably the game of the year. Leading up to it around the lead. What do you remember about that game?
I just know that's what makes hockey fun is the back and forth and the competitive level. Like if we would have lost by a lot or we would have beat them a lot, it's not as fun as the competition. So it's just as good to see like it was even competition and that we could like compete, but also like it was a challenge too. So it was really fun.
Finally, Emma, I'll direct these last 2 questions about the final in your direction, and then we'll talk a bit about Interlake, Tessa. You guys have a chance to win the series in game 4, kind of unexpectedly. You guys know you have that extra game in your back pocket if you need it. Obviously, you want to finish the series as early as possible. But what was your team's mindset that you can remember, up 2-1, having a chance to pull up arguably one of the biggest upsets in league history when it comes to the playoffs? What was the mindset? I mean, nobody really had you guys, up 2-1, never mind a chance to win the thing. What kind of stands out to you about that?
From what I can remember, it kind of felt like maybe we're too comfortable or like we were too good to be true almost. And I felt like what I remember is I don't think we played very well at all. We were all just kind of like, oh, like it's fine. We have another game kind of thing. And when we really should have been pushing to win that game instead, which is why we let them come back. I don't really quite remember most of that, but I remember going home kind of frustrated about it. So.
Yeah, and then you guys have to turn around and you play game 5. I remember I missed games 2, 3, and 4 of the series, so I was pretty happy that I was able to come back and do game 5. I obviously you guys lost that game, so I won't ask you about it, but I will ask you about this. What did you learn about your team in that game 5? Because personally, I thought it was admirable that you guys got that series to game 5, had a very good chance to win it. It just seemed like you guys kind of ran out of gas there. Once they got those first 2 goals, you could kind of start to see the game deflate a little bit. But what was that like, and what did you, Emma, maybe learn about your team that you can take into this year? Because obviously you're coming back, you're planning to come back and play. But what did you learn about your team, particularly in that game?
Well, in that game, definitely, like you said, we definitely deflated quite a bit, which was definitely frustrating for some of us who were like, we can come back from this, but others were just kind of like done. Next year, well, as like, I guess with some leadership and like, I'm hoping they're gonna keep up the energy better. Again, like we have a huge family aspect going on. Like we have a small team this year. Hopefully, we're gonna have a bit of a bigger team next year. Let's hope, because all the injuries didn't do us very well. But definitely learned that when you play for each other and you play together, a lot can be accomplished. Obviously, like we honestly didn't. I don't think any player on our team thought we would make it to that game. So when you believe and put your mind to it, then anything can happen.
Just a follow up, because I know this was a discussion point even at our executive meetings and that. What did you make of the crowds in the playoffs? I mean, particularly Game 5. Like, I've been a part of Elite 11 years, going into my 12th year, and I have never seen a crowd like that for Game 5. There was lineups. It was a pretty early arriving crowd. You had, I would say, most of the games in that whole playoffs, were well attended. What did you make of that kind of crowd to play in front of? Did that kind of give you guys, and I'll pose this question to both of you, but the building was full most nights, very loud for one team or another. Is that something you guys strive off of? And what excites you about a crowd like that? Because I still remember Game 5, and I remember I was worried about people sitting in front of the camera set, so I couldn't shoot the game properly. So we had to move some stuff around to make that work. What do you remember about the crowd in playoffs? Because I think everybody talks about the big crowd in Game 4, big crowd in Game 5. In all seriousness, the entire playoffs had great crowds. Something that I hadn't really seen in my time with the league. We've had big crowds, but not like that. Just wondering what you guys made of the crowd and whether that affected the gameplay at all.
Well, I think it definitely added an exciting atmosphere to the game. It was pretty neat, but also, like, for me personally, I get very nervous, a lot of people. So sometimes it gets in my head a bit, but I think it was pretty cool to play in front of that many people. And I think also that was partly probably due to COVID, and everyone's like, oh, like, I haven't watched hockey in forever. Like, we're all going to show up and support. So it was definitely cool having a lot of people there to watch us play.
Yeah, I really liked it because it gave us a lot of energy, and I felt like if you scored, everyone would be cheering and it'd just be fun. And personally for us, because as the two sisters, we actually had a lot of family to come out. So it was pretty cool to see our family watch us at the same time, which is they've never done before.
Now, this may be a fair question, but I'll have to slide it in here today. I think it kind of fits well. You guys have a brother that plays in the MJHL. I had the privilege of covering him when he was with the Steelers that this past year. I found that out after the fact, actually. But what was that like, having that, obviously brother influence in the hockey area? Did that help you guys at all, or how did you see that? Because, I mean, obviously, Emma, you're a defenseman, Tessa, you're a forward. A little surprised you didn't go the goaltending route. But what was it like to have that brotherly influence? I understand it's two different leagues in that, but that had to be pretty cool and something for you guys to look up to in that way.
I guess we've always kind of grown up going to the rink all together to watch each other's games, barely ever home. So like I honestly quite enjoy watching his hockey a lot. I always have. It's been kind of entertaining. I like supporting him when he plays. I don't know. It's cool. It kind of definitely influences things when I go and watch like guys hockey. For instance, I'm like, oh, pick up on things. I'm like, that's kind of cool to implement maybe sometime, sort of thing. But I don't know. It's cool.
And growing up with a brother, super competitive family.
Yeah.
He's always trained like me, like we'll do battling drills in like the yard or whatever. Like, it's super competitive family. So it's like, I don't know. I think that's where we got some of our competitiveness from too. Is him.
thrive off each other.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that got everybody. She was just flowing for a time or two. Tessa, really quickly, your season with Intro, I haven't seen the roster yet, but what was that like? And what are you hoping to take into the future with that team?
I'm really excited for this next season. I think we're gonna have a really good team, fast team, a lot of younger girls, but I think that we can have a lot of success. And I think that if everyone buys in and becomes a family, then I think it'll be a really awesome season.
So obviously tryouts have already happened for the Winnipeg team. They happened for you guys too. I noticed. So the season is not that far away. What are kind of the plans here going forward, just as we wrap up here for the rest of the summer?
For me, I'm training like 4 or 5 times a week on ice, and then a couple workouts and just working and making some money.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're going on a trip in 2 weeks, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So Emma, how about you? I mean, obviously, I think you're in dental hygiene, something of that nature. What's in the cards for you?
So I start school August 8th, so I have basically a month left of summer, so I'm trying to make everything worthwhile. Playing soccer, going to the gym, working a lot. So we're going on a trip, so trying to jam pack my summer full so I can not complain when I have nothing to do all winter.
Yeah, I mean, I did 1 year of broadcast school, but was all summer long, and let me say it was not fun.
No.
You know, 30 degrees, and everybody, heading to the lake on the weekend, and you're stuck doing schoolwork. But thankfully, they made it work for us, right? So that was a pretty good year weather-wise. But I wouldn't change it. Right? It was 1 year. It was, I think I started in July, so late July. Ended up finishing just in April, so I don't know. The only time I thankfully ever went to summer school, because I heard that's not fun either from people. But I grew up with but had the goal, unfortunately. But no, it was good to catch up with you guys. I appreciate that taking the time. As people can appreciate it, very hard to sometimes coordinate these things in the summer. So I'm glad we're able to make something work. Took up almost 35 minutes, so kind of right along the lines of what I was thinking. Just a note on GameTime TV, you're catching this on Friday, so have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back with live shows next week. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers pulling off a big victory, kind of unsuspectingly, after Toronto missing a point after to tie the game. Bombers win 23-22 on Monday. They'll head out to BC to play the 3-0 BC Lions tomorrow. When you're watching this right now, the 2nd through 7th round of the NHL draft is ongoing. We'll be back next week to recap it all, including the Jets, 2 first-round selections, and anything else that happens in the world of hockey. Thank you guys for coming on the show, and we'll catch up as the season goes on. For Emma and Tessa Stewart, this is Michael Gelty, and thank you very much for watching, and we will talk to you next week. Bye for now.